This is an introduction to the geography of the English-speaking world. Start off with British geography here. This is a map of the British Isles. That means it's a group of islands located in Western and Northern Europe, depending on your definition there. It can be Northern or Western Europe. Britain, or the UK, which is just short for the United Kingdom, and which is really just short for the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The simplest thing to call it is either just UK or the UK, rather, or Britain. I think I'll use both of those probably. So this is Britain. But Britain is made up of four constituent countries, really four countries that together make the larger country, Britain. And these are obviously England, which is not the same as Britain. This is just one of the parts of Britain, and Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. In case you're wondering, Northern Ireland has no flag, by the way. The Republic of Ireland, which is the rest of this island, which has Northern Ireland on it, is separate. It used to be part of the United Kingdom, but not anymore. So, and also, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland are Celtic, while England is Germanic. That's just originally, though. If you're interested in languages, Scottish, Welsh, and Irish language are Celtic languages, while English is Germanic, but obviously most people in Scotland, Wales, and Ireland speak English now. A little bit about regions and counties of England. Here are the regions. All of them, not that many, but basically just generic names like Northeast and Northwest, the West Midlands, East Midlands, and Southeast, Southwest, but also East Anglia, and Yorkshire, and the Humber. While this is a map of all the counties, and most of them are named a shire, which is in English, British English, pronounced shire. So, for instance, here, this one is Leicestershire and Lincolnshire, or Berkshire, Hampshire, Wiltshire. But not all, of course. Cornwall and Devon and Dorset don't have shire in. But that's because, see, shire or shire is just the older English word for county. Again, here are all the regions of England. The Commonwealth. This is a name that you should know. Commonwealth, the Commonwealth of Nations, is kind of an organization that includes as members many former British colonies. All of these in blue on this map, including India and Australia and Canada, for instance, and many countries in Africa. All of them former British colonies. 16 of which, basically, 16 Commonwealth countries, in this case including Britain, are Commonwealth realms. They share a monarch, which is Queen Elizabeth II currently, the Queen of the United Kingdom. She is also Queen of Canada and Australia and New Zealand and all of these other, mostly in the Caribbean. So this includes Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and 9 Caribbean countries and a few in the Pacific. Britain still has a few colonies. They don't call them colonies anymore. They are called dependent territories, which includes, or actually they're called British Overseas Territories by Britain. The technical jargon today is to call them dependent territories. And that's all of the ones you see in the map here. Includes several in the Caribbean as well. So these are basically have some self-rule, but they are not independent countries from Britain. This includes the Cayman Islands and Bermuda, which is off the map, by the way, and several more. A little bit about U.S. geography here. The United States, so the USA is short for the United States of America, sometimes just called America, often just called America, is located in North America, which is a continent. But the U.S. is also a federal republic made up of many states, 50 states, and counting since 1959. There may be more states in the future if some other territories are admitted into the Union as states, but currently there are 50 states. So we have this map. It's a huge continental-sized country, the United States, so you have a lot of different natural geography. And we also divide the country into four major regions: the Northeast, the South, the Midwest, which isn't anywhere near the West, more like the middle of the country, and the West, just very generic. But we can subdivide into even further smaller parts like New England. These are the ones in the upper eastern corner of the United States. This is called New England. And the mid-Atlantic states, including New York, the South, which is a large part, the Midwest again, yeah, the Great Plains, which is the part of the America which is basically the flattest and has the most tornadoes in the middle, this middle strip. The mountain states, called that because of the Rocky Mountains, the Southwest, and the Pacific Northwest, which includes just these two states, Washington and Oregon, called the Pacific Northwest, close to, of course, borders on the Pacific Ocean. So, as you can see, this map here: New England, Mid-Atlantic states, the South, the Midwest, the Great Plains, and mountain states, Southwest, Pacific Northwest, and California and Florida separated out here, and Alaska and Hawaii. Obviously, these are not to scale. Alaska, by the way, is the largest state. But the United States also has some dependent territories. They call them insular areas, which basically just means they are islands. And this includes, to name these are the, basically many of these are uninhabited, but these are the inhabited ones: Puerto Rico, which has millions of people, the U.S. Virgin Islands, these are in the Caribbean, there's Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, and American Samoa. Closer look again at the Caribbean. You can see here is Puerto Rico. And just to mention it, Cuba, which is of course not a dependent territory, has on it a small United States naval base here called Guantanamo Bay, which is controlled by the United States, even though it sits on top of basically Cuba. A little bit about demographics now. The UK population stands more or less currently at 65 million, and England alone, which is the most populous one, has close to 54 million, and Scotland only 5. So consider the size of Scotland. It's far less densely populated than England. So England is very densely populated by European standards even. Certainly, if you compare it to Norway, Norway, obviously, larger than all of Britain and far larger than England. Norway has only 5 million inhabitants, just like Scotland. The U.S. population currently stands at least 320 million. It's the third most populous country in the world, following China and India. And here are the population stats for all the individual states. You can tell California, New York, and Texas, and Florida on this map are the most populous. And some are very, very not populated. Yeah, and again, a closer map here to see how the population density. And you basically see how the eastern half of the country is more densely populated than the western half. Canada has 35 million, Australia at 24, New Zealand, a smaller country, at 4.5. And a little bit about ethnicity in the United Kingdom here. These numbers will probably become obsolete in a few years. You should double check them if you want. But anyway, the white population stands at close to 90%. So any non-white population is less than at least 13% in this case. I've separated out Indian, that is British Indian, and British Pakistani ethnicity because those are the two largest non-white ethnic groups. Nationalities, I should say. While for the United States, population, the white population, significantly smaller. It's more multiracial and with 12% blacks, and Hispanic is the second group here at 16%. I should note that a lot of, not most, but there are Hispanics that probably count themselves as white, that they are white. There are white Mexicans, there are white Brazilians, but most are not, and this is just they call it Hispanic here, sometimes Latino, just to say that they either speak, in this case, Spanish, right? But I guess Brazilians could be counted definitely among Latinos. A little bit about U.S. states here by largest ancestry. Not very important, but a little interesting, based on where people come from, or rather where their ancestors came from, at least. A lot of the U.S. states here, the single largest, not that they have more than half the population, but that they are the largest group by ancestry, have a German ancestry in a lot of these states, and obviously Mexican in the states that border on Mexico, and African American in many of the southern states. Religion in the UK, Christian population, of course, is there's a majority, but at least 25% who are not religious, while in America, the Christian population is significantly larger and the no religion is smaller. And also, you can tell by the other religions here that Islam is far smaller in the United States. It stands at 5% in the UK. The Jewish population is larger than the Muslim one in the United States. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and check out my other videos if you haven't already.